Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is literally bursting with Easter eggs. The animated movie winks to historic comics and hidden details about the alternate universe in which the story takes place. There are so many, if you blink, you could miss them. Here are a few of our favorite secrets you might have missed from the film. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse follows the origin story of Miles Morales, from the moment he is bitten by a radioactive spider to the moment he puts on his own black and red Spidey suit. But Miles isn't the only spider person in this film, far from it actually. This is thanks to the villain Kingpin, who rips a hole in the space-time continuum. This causes a collision of heroes from alternate dimensions. Miles gets to learn from the older adult version of Peter Parker, as well as Gwen Stacy, Penny Parker, Spider-Man Noir, and Peter Porker. This film is loaded with references and Easter eggs, making it a universally satisfying experience for comic book fans as well as fans of the previous Spider-Man movies. There are so many quick nods and cleverly hidden gems in this film, if you blink, you could miss them. Here are a few you may not have noticed. The look of the film. It's not hard to see that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse looks a lot like a comic book. In fact, it looks more like a comic than any other live-action or animated film we've ever seen. Complete with thought bubbles, Ben-Day dots, and hatching, viewers felt like they were watching a living and breathing comic book. But one effect you might have missed is the background blur, and occasional red and blue lines outline the animation. This is a tip of the cap to the commonly seen off-register printing errors that would sometimes happen with older comic books. Back then, the colors they could use for comic books were pretty limited. That's why everyone always wore a lot of red and blue. And back in the day, when printing the comic books, the colors had to be printed one at a time. When they didn't line them up right, they called it being out of register. This creates an effect of red and blue lines sort of leaking out on either side of the characters, making the picture slightly blurry. You can see this in the earliest moments of Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. It's an added touch that really makes you feel like you are sitting among the pages of an old comic book. Even if you were not aware of this effect, it probably seeped into some nostalgic part of your subconscious. The film's writer and producer said that they liked the idea of taking past mistakes and making them part of the language of the movie. Additionally, the film uses actual comic book covers. Remember the part where the Chris Pine version of Peter Parker is sharing his backstory, and we see a real Keith Pollard cover on the screen? And then an Eric Larson design takes us into the Jake Johnson version of Peter Parker's backstory. And Miles Morales co-creators Sarah Pichelli and Robbie Rodriguez contributed actual artwork for the film. So a mesh of hand-drawn art combined with CGI came together to create the artistic design we saw in the Spider-Verse movie. According to Vanity Fair, Sony is so pleased with the film's distinct style, they are taking the unprecedented move to try to patent the innovative technologies used in this film. That means we may be seeing more films with this distinct style in the future. Times Square posters. When Spider-Gwen tumbles into the middle of Times Square, we see a lot of interesting posters that indicate we might be in an alternate dimension. If you pay attention, you'll see slight alterations to some recognizable films, celebrities, and products in posters throughout the movie. There's a merging of the two popular cult classic films, From Dusk Till Dawn and Shaun of the Dead, with the poster From Dusk Till Shaun. The Blue Man Group is now the Red Man Group. Starbucks takes a step back in its history to revisit its Il Giornale days. Planet Hollywood became Planet Inglewood. Jersey Boys is now Noise Boys. There's some sort of Netflix special with Seth Rogen called Hold Your Horses. Basketball stars Blake Griffin and Steph Curry have become baseball stars and golf stars respectively. One other interesting thing worth noting is that the value of the dollar is quite a bit different in Miles' universe. Take a look at the check on the table. One fan on Tumblr who goes by Let Cass Be Happy pointed out that the cops in New York are PD and Y. Coca-Cola is now Cola Soda, and the date on Miles' test reads December. This fan says that she loves how much attention was paid to the details because it makes it obvious that the story is taking place in a different dimension. The Spidey suits. Fans were absolutely geeking out over Aunt May's Spider Cave, in particular, the row of Spidey suits. It gave comic book and movie fans a chance to witness the history of Spider-Man's many different looks over the years. The biggest secret gag comes when they refer to Miles' cape, a look Peter Parker is not on board with. Later, Miles points out a caped suit in one of the cases as a way to distract Peter from Mary Jane. Longtime Spider-Man writer Dan Slott said that it is from a very specific issue of What If. Slott was also especially tickled when he saw the Spider-Mobile in the Spider Cave. Here's a secret fun fact you may not know about Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse. During the intro and recap of all the things Spider-Man has been up to, he says that they made a cartoon based on him and that it includes a theme song. That cartoon made Spider-Man mainstream by introducing the superhero to the non-comic reading world. The cartoon came out in 1967 and was known for following the comic books pretty closely. Even though the animation wasn't that great due to budget constraints, the show did make an important contribution to the Spider-Man franchise. That contribution would be the Spider-Man theme song that has been reproduced many times over the years. It's so catchy, even Kingpin sings his own version of it in the film. What secrets did you notice in Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse? Did we miss any major Easter eggs or interesting facts from the film? If so, tell us in the comments. Thanks for stopping by the Things channel. If you dig our videos, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell to get the latest news.